Welcome to the first ever The Hoosier podcast for the Hoosier.com Indiana rivals. Joined by Alec, Lasley. We're going to talk about Indiana's 14-6 win up at Wisconsin. I was at the game, and I'll tell you what, Alec, first off, Camp Randall Stadium, very nice place. More so when it's empty, but I will admit the fourth quarter jump around segment was a little bizarre with nobody there. Um, but and we'll talk about this a little bit. Indiana came in, Jack Tuttle's first start, and nobody really knew what to really expect out of him tonight. And it's one thing to hear from teammates about how much they trust Jack, how much they like Jack. It's another thing to go out and do it on the field. And boy, oh boy, did he go out and do it tonight. And Indiana 14-6 win. Defense played their tails off. Two times Wisconsin got down in the red zone, no points, or excuse me, no touchdown rather for the Badgers. And Indiana improves to 5-1 on the season. Alec,
just that was a hard fought win. I think I still can't get over how Wisconsin was two touchdown favorites in this. Never really kind of felt, even going into the game, that was kind of how the game was going to end up. And you could look at it that IU could have been favored by two touchdowns. They had a couple opportunities that they obviously missed throughout the game that could have easily put that game more out of reach than what it was. So obviously another good win, another good performance. That defense is obviously one of the best in the entire country. And one of these weeks, Indiana's finally going to kind of get the respect that they really deserve for that team and the program that Tom Allen's put together this year, and obviously moving forward.
Well, and to that point, that was one thing that really impressed me after the game. Tywan Mullen and Micah McFadden both, 2 of 11 stars on that defense. Both of them made that comment about how Coach Allen still gets no respect whatsoever. That program still gets no respect. I don't understand how you're top 10 in the country and nobody outside of your own building gives you respect. But I asked Taiwan about that, and he said that we're not really too worried about what everybody else says. Our results kind of speak for themselves, and he's absolutely right. And that's a defense that has 20 takeaways on the season. Got more today, and Kane Womack in his second year, just a tremendous job that he has done as defensive coordinator. Tom Allen, I'm sure that had to be hard for him to not run down to Kane a couple of times tonight and put his 2 cents in. But credit Coach Allen for trusting his coordinators.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just offensively, I don't really know kind of what people were really expecting. Obviously, with no Michael Penix in there, Jack Tuttle getting his first start. Obviously, not the same type of quarterback. Still a very highly recruited, highly ranked guy coming out of high school a couple of years ago. But I think it ended up being one of Nick Sheridan's better play calling games this season. Just the way that he was able to kind of get Tuttle into a little bit of a rhythm early on, a couple short passes, a couple across the middle. But, as the game kind of progressed, I think it was 2 passes on that last drive for Indiana where Jack Tuttle needed to make a throw just to extend the drive a little bit more. He ended up doing that. And I think that really showed just the trust that Sheridan and Tuttle have. Obviously, Tom Allen has in Nick Sheridan to kind of extend and open up that playbook as the game went on. Especially when that running game wasn't really as effective as last week, but still able to kind of do what it needed to push Indiana over the top.
Well, I'm going to be completely honest with you here. I was concerned that it was going to be real conservative in the play calling, and when they came out and first down, run again, first down, run again. I'm sitting here saying to myself, I've seen this, all season long out of these guys. We saw what Tuttle could do last week when he came in, and that first throw was a 2-point conversion to Peyton Hendershot against Maryland. And I kept sitting there and I just kept saying, guys, let's open this up a little bit. Let's show that arm that we've heard so much about. And they did. And Tuttle, um, just absolutely amazing for him.
Yeah, and then you saw that arm strength a couple different times, and just the accuracy that he had for the most part. Obviously there were a couple throws that I'm sure he'd like to have back, but he gave obviously every receiver a chance to get the ball, and I think the one that would have even boosted those stats more was that Miles Marshall one that was wide open where he hung in the pocket, took that hit, and dropped it right into to Miles Marshall's hands there, and he just wasn't able to come up with that one. But you look at his stats, all in all, 13 to 22, 130 yards and those 2 touchdowns. Obviously, you'd like to see those yards a little bit more, but I think for the most part, he did what he needed to do to get the ball down the field, get Indiana in scoring position. And I think the drive that kind of resonated the most was right out of halftime. Indiana obviously just wanted to get some more points there, extend the lead, and he went right down the field, made a beautiful throw to Wapfilliard down the in the back of the end zone there, and I think that really cemented the trust that staff and the rest of that team kind of had in Jack kind of moving forward. Just the fact that he was able to really march down the field, make those big time throws, and that's obviously what you're going to need moving forward from him.
So Jack Tuttle finishes tonight's game 13 to 22 for 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. But we may have a quarterback on our hands who can run a little bit. Jack Tuttle, 6 carries, only had 11 yards, but not afraid to put his nose in there and mix it up a little bit in the run. He did have the fumble on that third down quarterback sneak, and he owned up to it. He came in after the game and said, "Hey guys, that's on me, and I need to learn ball security, and I will, and it'll never happen again."
Yeah, and again, I think one thing that you look at, not so much just the overall yards that he had, but just the way that he was able to kind of extend plays a little bit. He's athletic, which I don't think a lot of people give him a lot of credit for. He was able to kind of move outside of the pocket a couple different times. Just kind of the little bits and pieces that maybe you don't normally have with a backup quarterback. And again, I think that's one of the whole points that Tom Allen's tried to build is depth. And, you've heard him talk about that on the O-line, the D-line, almost every other position, but you also need that obviously at the quarterback position. And the fact that he has that big of a playmaker on the bench there with Jack Tuttle is something that is going to obviously impact Indiana moving forward, and just something that's super beneficial to have for any coach. Just kind of going down some more of the stats here. Stevie Scott, 18 carries, 57 yards. Not a whole lot of action in the run game. David Ellis was back there. Wapfilliard, 4 catches, 47 yards. Ty Freifogel, just that one catch. David Ellis, couple catches. Peyton Hendershot, 3 catches, 8 yards. That's all just that one touchdown. Obviously adding up for that 130 yards that Tuttle had. I think overall, really good job just spreading the ball around. I know Jacoby Huba had a couple big catches, throughout that game. But Paul, did it kind of surprise you a little bit that we didn't see any Baldwin or Samson James, and he kind of went right into David Ellis, and there wasn't much more of a rushing attack outside of Stevie Scott there?
That surprised me a lot, considering Samson James was back. He was off the inactive list after a family matter was how Tom Allen described it this week. So, to watch him go through warmups and not play really surprised me. But to watch what Tim Baldwin did last week and surpass the 100-yard mark and then not have any carries, that really surprised me. And I don't know if if maybe it's you go with the hot hand. I mean, David played well considering and very limited touches. Uh, Samson James, um, you know what you're going to get out of him, obviously. But one thing that blew me away, and we've heard about it. He used to be a linebacker and this and that. Samson James, or not Samson James. I'm sorry. Um,
Stevie.
yeah, Stevie Scott rather. Stevie Scott is a tank. He lowered the shoulder and ran over guys today from Wisconsin. But yeah, I was really surprised that we didn't see any Samson James. Um, really surprised that nobody really asked Tom about it after the game. Tom didn't speak about why he just went with Ellis and Scott. But yeah, I was shocked. I don't know what that means for next week with Purdue coming to Bloomington, but you had really hoped that you would see maybe three of the four, if not all four, and credit that offensive line for getting some seams and not allowing a sack against Tuttle in the first half.
Yeah, I think in that obviously set up Indiana well as it progressed. I think everyone was a little bit worried and a little bit scared there when he took that hit. And there were obviously a couple minutes there where we didn't really know if he was going to be back in the game or if it was going to be Dexter Williams. Obviously, he came back in there, and I think that toughness obviously resonated, and that's really what Indiana's kind of built on is that toughness. Kind of, looking forward now, obviously, it looks like Ohio State's going to end up there in the Big Ten championship unless something crazy happens. But we have IUS Purdue coming up. Obviously, they want to win that one. Well, what are you what are kind of your main takeaways from tonight and kind of moving into next week for IU here?
I think Purdue is a program, and they had their game on right before IU played it, and I caught a little bit of that in the press box at Wisconsin. That's a team that is struggling and really surprises me with how much they are struggling. I expect them to get up for this one though, because it's a rivalry game. It's the bucket game. Braum and Purdue lost it last year. So you can throw the records out the window. Rondell Moore is still there. David Bell is still there, and quarterback play has been suspect at times from Purdue. The defense has been suspect at times. But now they got film on Jack Tuttle, and they've got to game plan for that. And I'll be honest with you, the way that this defense is playing, I really don't care how you game plan for Jack, because I'll say it again, and I've said it many times. I believe the defense is the strength of this team, and it shows. And defense wins championships. It would be hilarious if the pessimism feelings in Michigan extend past this weekend, and they don't play Ohio State, and Indiana gets a chance, or a great dilemma happens. There was a lot of talk about it before the game. You sent me the one text, and I think my response was, "Well, we'll just have to see how it plays out." I would be surprised to see a move made to try to, even if they don't play next week, to get Ohio State in that championship game. And let's be honest. Uh, Indiana lost this chance at Ohio State. They had a golden opportunity to take care of business and not let anybody else dictate their future, and they came up just short. Um, but as for next week against Purdue, I would imagine Indiana will be a heavy favorite. And again, if that defense and that secondary can find ways to stop Bell and Moore, it could be a very long day for Jeff Brom and Purdue.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of one of the last things that Indiana obviously has on its radar for this year. One of the top things every single year, and I think this year, like you said, I think Purdue's going to have a lot of trouble with IU not only moving the ball offensively, but just finding any ways to really kind of slow down this Indiana program. I think if they got another shot at Ohio State, hypothetically, if the Big Ten was able to do anything like that, I think maybe things turn out a little bit differently. Who knows? But it's another good win for Indiana. Anything else you have from the game tonight?
I want to tell you what. If Tom Allen does not get serious consideration for not Big Ten Coach of the Year, I think he's got that. But for National Coach of the Year, and trust me, I know what Dabo's doing at Clemson. I know what Saban's doing at Alabama. Maybe Jamie Chadwell at Coastal Carolina. Maybe you can make an argument for him. But what Tom Allen has done is just tremendous. And they asked Jack about it after the game, and Jack said it all comes back to LEO. And those guys play for each other. They believe in Coach Allen. They believe in that staff, and it is absolutely remarkable to see. It really is.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw it. Obviously, since you're dealing with all the post game stuff in the press box there, but at the very end of the game, they obviously interviewed Tom Allen on the field. I don't know if you were able to see some of the clips.
Yeah.
Literally every single player from Stevie Scott, Jamar Johnson. I know Tywone Mullen was there. Going down the line, just he wasn't even able to finish a sentence just with everyone coming in there, and that's not only obviously the biggest recruiting tool that you can have, but just even beyond that, just showing how much of a family, of a team, and really how much LEO actually is pushed out through that program, and just more of how it's a day by day and a moment by moment actual part of who they are, and not just a saying. So it's fun to see that. I know a lot of Indiana fans have not really been able to experience this from this football program in quite a while. So, it's fun that Tom Allen has him on the right path, and it's something that it is definitely sustainable for more than just this year.
Oh, by far. And this will only help in the class of 22, 2022, 2023, 24, and moving forward. And I laugh, and I'm sure you've seen it on our forums a little bit. People talking about Tom Allen leaving for Vanderbilt and some of these other South Carolina. I heard one person today, and I absolutely laughed, having been around that Gamecock program in the past. Tom Allen, he's not leaving. And why would he? A native Hoosier from Newcastle. This is his dream job. This is the job that Tom Allen, when he was a high school coach, always dreamed of. I'm sure is to get back home and to do it at Indiana, and he's doing it, and he's doing a heck of a job. And I don't see him leaving. Unless it's retiring, and he's nowhere near that. Coach Allen's 50. I see him at IU for a very long time.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking at some of those other programs you mentioned, why would you leave basically a top 10 program for any of those other ones, when obviously in the past the recruiting may have been a little bit suspect here at IU, but with the guys that he has on this roster now, the youth that he still has on the roster, and obviously the classes that he has coming in, it obviously makes no sense to move. This is, like you said, I think this is his dream job. So it's going to be fun to see, obviously, the rest of this year moving forward. But like we said, another great win for Indiana tonight. And it's just fun to watch this program. It really is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And I'll be looking forward to next week back at Memorial Stadium against Purdue, and then we'll see how that um, weekend of champions or whatever they're calling it pans out. I honestly, I don't see them being in Indianapolis playing against Northwestern. So it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. And surprisingly, we have heard not a whole lot from the Big Ten in terms of that. And then a bowl game, and you got to think, a win like this, if they can win next week against Purdue. Uh, all of a sudden, they're playing themselves into a one of the big six on New Year's Day.
Yeah, absolutely. And then wouldn't that be fun?
That would be fun.
It's something that IU fans haven't seen in a while. So, but yeah, obviously great win tonight. Looking forward to next week. Looking forward to obviously more post game talk with you. And I know you'll be working hard tonight and into tomorrow and moving forward, getting some stuff up for everyone to see on the site.
Most definitely.
Cool. Awesome. So we'll be doing this every post game. We had to obviously adjust with a little bit of the time difference here and for Paul in Wisconsin. So we'll be back next week, and we'll also be doing this every week, once a week, moving forward. Usually those will probably be out Mondays. We're still working on the schedule for that, but kind of look for that on Mondays. Anything else, Paul, before we head out?
No, just a great win, and I'll be interested to see where they move up on tomorrow when the AP poll comes out, and then see if they can move up a little bit Tuesday night in the CFP rankings.
Yeah, absolutely. Should be, in my mind, a top 10 program. We'll see, obviously, what everyone else has to say about it.
Well, Alec, thank you for joining, and looking forward to doing this again next week. And as you said, getting these out every Monday as we wind down and then into the off season.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thank you.